Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, the sound is working this time. Y'all let me know if it's not. Welcome back once again to the weekly WP Roundup with BJ Keeton. That is, once again, me. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I apologize about the crazy reset there. The streaming software crashed, and so I wanted to make sure that y'all had no audio, and then everything just died. So now we can get everything back on track. So if you're new to the stream, or if you haven't been here in a while, remember that we have all of the links that we talk about on the show in the video description, so you can expand that out no matter what platform you're on, and you can follow along, open them up in all the different tabs, and click through and give all of the content creators the love that they deserve, so that we can keep doing this. We do this every Friday at 3 p.m., so make sure that you click on the thumbs up button and ring the bell and tell Facebook you want to be notified, so that you can find out whenever we do this all the time. Because we go live multiple times a week with different streams. So let's dig into this, y'all. I'm seeing a few people saying it's fine now on their end. You can hear me, which makes me very happy. It's a little always disturbing and distracting and kind of discombobulating when things like that kind of crash on you, like I'm trying to fix the mic and OBS crashes. So very glad we're good now. I'm seeing people from England and Austin, Texas. Everybody it seems to be doing well. So hopefully y'all are all having a great Valentine's Day so far. Hopefully you're going to be having a fantastic one this evening. And I'm just very, very happy to be here and be able to share it with y'all. So moving into the news, there were just a couple of things I wanted to mention this week. I wanted to point out that we did last week, we didn't have a stream. And the reason for that is that me and a few of the other Elegant Themes content team members were all at the WordCamp Phoenix in Phoenix, Arizona. We had a Divi meetup. I'm not sure if any of y'all went, but I heard it was fantastic. I actually didn't get to make that one myself because the weather was so bad that I had 10 hours of flight delays and then got delayed overnight after that. So I was not able to make the Divi meetup, which makes me really sad, but I've heard that it's fantastic. So I'm hoping some of y'all got to go there and experience that. And the reason I bring this up is we have a recap post of everything on our blog, where you can see some pictures from the camp and how well everybody put it on. It is a fantastic WordCamp. Jason and Raquel and Nathan and I were able to go. We played laser tag, that kind of thing. Like, WordCamps are wonderful for this kind of stuff. So I figured I wanted to let y'all know that you can read the recap of that one and see all the cool stuff that went on. It was 90s themed. I was really impressed. They gave out fanny packs instead of t-shirts this year. It was just a lot of fun. So it was very well put on. So, and our very own Raquel Landefeld was on the organizing committee, and she did a great job. And I know some other members of the Divi Nation, like Corey Jenkins, were on the organizing committee putting it together. So thank y'all for doing such a wonderful job with that. So y'all all go click on that. Check out the really awesome pictures that we had, the recap of like us being able to have dinner with the Beaver Builder guys. That was so much fun, being able to go eat like giant brisket sandwiches and sliders and fries and pretzels, like pretzel buns. Man, those are so good with the Beaver Builder folks. They were super fun to hang out with. So it's just really fantastic weekend overall, and except for the hours and hours of flight delays on my end. But other than that, it was great, and y'all should totally check out the recap. Now, for bad news in terms of WordCamps, if anyone was planning on going to WordCamp Asia this week, you're not, because it got canceled. With the coronavirus going around, they actually decided not to do it. They canceled everything. COVID-19 is cited as the reason that they're canceling it. This is the first WordCamp Asia, and it is so sad that this isn't going on. We were even going to have a presence there. Raquel was going to be at WordCamp Asia, so it makes us really, really sad that this is going on and got canceled. But it's for the best of everybody coming in. We just don't know, what's going on with COVID-19, with the coronavirus, and so we're pretty stoked that we're not, exposing that many people to just even the potential of it. If you were going on to that WordCamp at all, and you're not able to get any kind of refunds from the hotels or anything like that, they are working on that. The organizers of the WordCamp, instead of doing an online WordCamp, the Torque Mag article that I've linked in the description here says that they're working with users, with guests and attendees and hotels and everything to try and get the refunds that you can for travel. They have flight cancellation waivers that you can turn in to airlines and things like that. That might not work. It might not always work for people who get to go. But what I think is great, and I wanted to really shout out on this one, is that WordFence, the security company that makes the WordFence plugin, they put up a $10,000 fund to be able to help refund people who couldn't get their money back or were financially impacted by this negatively, where people could get up to $200 back based on their situation when they call or they email them and find out. So I really wanted to give a shout out to the WordFence folks that is a really, really awesome thing for them to do, to go through and organize. That's a lot of work, vetting all the stuff that people are sending in their documentation, and I really wanted to give them a public shout out for that, because that is that's stepping up and really impressive. So if anybody is from WordFence, thank you on behalf of everyone who got impacted by that, who the cancellation impacted. And so yeah, it's very sad that they had to cancel it, but we will hopefully be back next year, they said. We're not sure about 2021 yet, but right now, just can't do it. So it's a little stinky, but it's safe. It's better safe than sorry. So best wishes to everybody who got canceled on that way. And I know the organizers had put so much time into that one. It just breaks my heart to know all that work that got put in that isn't going to be able to be shown off. But again, better safe than sorry. So I'm seeing some comments. Y'all know I get distracted by comments a bunch. I'm seeing a lot of people, Uncle Social's talking Hindi. Hey, Uncle Social lived in Delhi. That's really awesome. I didn't realize. I have no idea what is going on right now. So it's, I don't understand any of the languages in the live chat on YouTube right now. So I'm going to move on into the tutorials. Every week we go through all 3 sections. And remember that if you're tuning in late, you can always go back and watch the show from the beginning, or see anything that you missed or want to go back to in the archives. It is going to be on YouTube and Facebook once we finish the stream. So moving into the tutorials now, I wanted to really give some shout outs to the Elegant Themes blog. I always do this, and y'all know that Donyetta and Jason are just wizards with Divi. Y'all love their stuff. I love their stuff. Everybody loves their stuff. But they had some really magnificent ones this week. The how to add Divi built highlighted quotes throughout your Gutenberg post. That was, I believe, a Donyetta article, and it is really, really cool. What we're doing right now is we're posting a lot of stuff where you can use the Divi layouts block in your Gutenberg blog posts, where you can have Divi and Gutenberg kind of play nice with each other. And so I'm really liking this. I'm having a good time doing this. And that's what Donyetta is showing on this, to be able to have a Gutenberg block with Divi layout in it for design. That one is beautiful. And then Jason this one was fun to watch, actually. He was working on this one, the how to create a reusable Divi layout block for Gutenberg blog posts, while we were at WordCamp Phoenix. this one was really fun to watch him go through the process of one of these designs. Like, I'd seen Donietta do it at some of our retreats on her working through Photoshop, a lot of this stuff. And so it was really neat seeing Jason go through his process on working with the builder, with the different layouts and designs and stuff like that. So it was really, really, really cool. And Uncle Social says, read Jason's reusable Divi block. I didn't see the point at all until it was about 20 minutes into the stream, and then wow, it all made sense. That's kind of the way that I was. Like, watching it, I was like, why would you do that, man? Huh, that's interesting. And then it was like, it clicked, and like, that's going to be incredibly useful. So it was the same way, but it was really, really cool to watch this go on with like the Divi layout, and then making them reusable. The reusable Gutenberg blocks are basically the global modules and global sections in the Divi library. So if you think about them like that, you're going to be able to really take advantage of that. You're going to be able to remove and you can individually remove reusable from a set of reusable blocks. And so you can then edit it however you want without affecting all the other global ones, the reusable ones. And it's just great. Like, this tutorial is so useful that I highly recommend checking this one out for the design and process, but also check out the live stream that Jason did on this past Tuesday for the for this particular Gutenberg block tutorial. It was really cool. And also have to shout out, with that in mind, Jason did that stream on his birthday, and Raquel's birthday is today. So happy birthday, guys! Yay! Woo! Yay! Just wanted to shout out to do that. So I meant to do that earlier in the stream. But yeah, it's really, really cool. Check out Jason's as well. And to skip one down before I come back, the how to create a gradient background animation in Divi with two different ways of doing this. I actually messaged Jason. I missed this. This was posted on the 7th. I missed this when it came out. And as I scrolled through this, I looked at the examples that he had posted of what this is, and it kind of blew my mind that I'm so going to be using this because I like animated backgrounds. I like being able to have that bit of dynamic motion on a website, but I don't like video backgrounds that much. Like, I think that when you have that much going on, that it can be distracting from the content that you're trying to display. And I saw this, how to create gradient background animations, and I was like, please tell me that's what I think it is. And sure enough, he has two options to either use Divi modules with radial background gradients, or radial gradient backgrounds, or gradient background animations with a CSS snippet and the Divi background option. Like, these are super cool. I'm going to be downloading these. I'm going to be using these, and I am going to be doing this myself because it's really, really useful to know how to do this stuff. And on top, I think it's really pretty. I think this is the kind of, I don't even want to say it's a micro interaction. It's one of those things. I think it's just it's an animation. It is a dynamic change in the background that you can have be incredibly subtle, that just draws the user's eye and makes them realize that you put more time into the design than other websites and your competitors might have. And so, like, I think it's beautiful. Like, I just can't, I say it before, I've said it before, but this might be like my favorite of these, just to see how to do this stuff, because there's no way I would have thought about doing this. I obviously didn't. And I'm just like, I absolutely want to know how to do this. I see Paul Nicholson. Wow, this is live. Hello, all. Hi, how you doing? How you doing, Paul? Thank you for joining us. And Uncle Social says, those gradients are beautiful. It reminds people that the browser hasn't frozen. I wish there was a CSS snippet library / GitHub for Divi effects. That would be awesome. That is something that I now task you with, Uncle Social, to create the repository for Divi CSS snippets. So that is your homework from the professor. And but no, that would be great. That would be awesome. It would take a lot of work to do something like that, but it definitely help the community. And as I said last week, we do have opened up the developer marketplace for you, to where you can sell your third-party Divi plugins and modules and things like that. That would be a very good Divi add-on and extension, Uncle Social. That's a very great idea. So that might be something worth doing that. I see Kasim, hopefully Kasim, says, I wish there in Divi there should be real estate listing built-in modules. That's a really good idea. I'm going to make a note of that one just to make sure that I can remember to see how that's actually working. That would actually probably be so specific that there would be a third-party module for it in the marketplace or something like that. But that one would be there we go. Had to type it out. But that would be the kind of thing that I think a third-party one would be great, because it's so specifically niche that you wouldn't, that all of our users wouldn't get it. But it would definitely be fantastic to have. And I see bonjour from France. I see lots of people coming in now. That's awesome. So yeah, these gradients are really, really cool, and I like them for the same reason that Uncle Social mentioned, so that people know that their browser hasn't frozen. I've seen animations that I keep in the background of my computer, like I'll have it in another monitor or something, and I'll be moving the windows around, and I'll see an animation just kind of moving and flashing or doing something in the background, and it makes me go back to that tab to see what was going on. So when something changes, that's going to be able to help retain your visitors and bring them back within that same session, perhaps. So I really do like that kind of stuff. And then if you get the Divi WordPress monthly emails that we send out, you can sign up for our emails and get everything sent to your inbox. If you get those, you may have noticed this one this month was 5 scripts for firing short-term and long-term freelance clients. I thought this was great. I was really, really, really impressed by this, because it is very terribly intimidating to fire someone, to get rid of a client who you've worked with whom you have worked for 5 years, and you just have to cut the cord. Or you've worked with them on one project, they are not working out for one reason or another, and how do you tell them, no, I'm not going to be taking any more work from you? So this article actually goes with goes along with that, giving you some example scripts that you can use and adapt to your own situations, so that you can see what's going on with other people and how they may have handled this. The comments are really, really positive on, man, this is exactly what I needed right now. So hopefully y'all will find some use out of that as well. It is a very good article. Like I said, I saw it in the email when it got sent along with these different kind of scripts, and that you can just use as templates for your own. Again, a lot of comments were saying that they were very useful, and so hopefully y'all don't have to do this very often to be able to make a firing and a change in clients like that where you need this. But if you do, it's absolutely imperative that you do it the right way, because they're still people. They're still people. They're still people. You're still people, and you don't want necessarily to burn that bridge and come across as, as it being a negative experience for everyone. There are ways to do it amicably. I've got some comments. Excuse me. I see Kasim asks, Kasim, again, I really am sorry if I mispronounce, can we use multiple themes in a single WordPress site? And no, you cannot. You can only use one theme on a WordPress site. That's like Divi or Astra or Genesis or something like that will be the theme that you use. What you can do is use something like the Divi layouts that we have, where you can get different layout styles within the theme itself. So when you have a page builder theme like Genesis or Astra or Divi, you're going to be able to make every page look completely different because it can be a blank canvas. And that's when you can have completely different looks, but not the different for everything, rather than having something unified if you want, but not different themes. I think the closest that you could get to that is really WordPress multi-site, and that is still running multiple sites along the same WordPress installation, where they're not going into one particular website like that. Yeah, Daniel Stidelli, again, I'm going to mispronounce your name, I apologize, says you can have like the WP Bakery theme and install the Divi Builder plugin at the same time and have some pages with Divi and some pages with WP Bakery. That is true. I've got websites like that where I actually have Visual Composer, WP Bakery, using the Ultimatum theme, the Visual Composer page builder, and the Divi builder on there, all the Divi builder plugin, having them all play nicely together in different areas. So I approve of that method, Daniel. I really do like that. That you brought that up, which always brings me to want to bring this up, to telling y'all this in case you didn't know, because I found out late to the game. It was after I started working here that I found this out. But if you use a different theme than Divi, if you have Astra or Genesis or one that you've bought from Theme Forest or something like that, you can still install the Divi Builder plugin that you can download from our website, from the members area, and you can still use that with that theme. The Divi Builder theme, the Divi theme, is an all-in-one package where you don't have to install that plugin as well. It has the plugin baked into the theme itself. So if you're using Astra or something like that, you can use the Divi Builder and get whatever features you want out of both of them. It's very, very, very useful to be able to do that, especially with certain clients, and to kind of mishmash around like that when you need something very specific that Divi can do, and your client won't have you do it or won't let you use a different theme. So there's that option. Jay Philpott said, any way to get some more tutorials on how to use ACF and dynamic content in a website? I will see what I can do. I will make my note of that. I do appreciate that. That's the kind of thing that I personally can work on, and seeing where we stand in our archives. So I appreciate that that idea that that's something that you might want with dynamic content and ACF. And I say that because I am not actually that familiar with ACF. I was watching a talk at WordCamp Phoenix this weekend. The speaker was Brent from Beaver Builder, and he was showing, some stuff with advanced custom fields, and I'm like, man, I really should take advantage of that more, and I just don't. So that will be a good way for me to deal with that. And figure out how to do that, I suppose. But that's a great idea. Thank you, Jay, for recommending that, for asking about that. And Uncle Social says, you guys are scaring me with your Frankenstein sites that are made with all kinds of things. And Uncle Social, I guarantee that you would be horrified if you saw the back end of just about any of the websites that I run, because I don't like redoing things very often, so I just kind of Frankenstein new things onto old things sometimes, and it is a monstrosity on some of my older sites. I honestly, to this day, I have one that was my original blog from 2008, right? So this is 12 years old. My original Professor Beach blog, when I first started using WordPress. I still have that installation that I've migrated to a new host, multiple new hosts, and I have edited now, I think, the single.php or something. I can't figure out what I did to change the templates, and no matter what I've done, I can't change the colors on some parts of my blog and the setup. So I'm gonna have to completely wipe this somehow and get it like it is. It is a total monstrosity. You would cry yourself to sleep if you saw the back end and the file system in that site. Kasim asked, does Divi have any plans to create extra tutorials or create tutorials to develop custom modules for the developer community? I am thinking that we have a couple like that. This one, we've got some in the documentation. I'm going to provide a link in Facebook and YouTube to the how to create a Divi builder module. There's that one. Let me see. Come on. Go back. That might be the only one I was thinking of right now. I'll look to see if I can find some more. And then there is full-on developer documentation that we have. That would, again, be something that once the marketplace opens up, that would be cool to have. So to do stuff like that. But yeah, that's really, really good question. Thank you. Hopefully, if you're looking at stuff like that, Kasim, I would definitely check that documentation there out, because we did Divi 3.1, and that was the developer update where we introduced a lot of new developer stuff, and then we're working on that as well to expand and make it better all the time. So check those out and see if that helps any at all. And I got my note written in stickies on my desktop here. And Usama asks, is there any update on Extra theme? You can't switch off the sidebar in Extra. I didn't know that. I don't use Extra. I haven't in a very long time. Is that something that you can override with the theme builder? Maybe that you can go in and disable that and add whatever sidebar and widgetized area that you would want that way. That's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, that might be a support question, because I don't use Extra and I can't answer that. And Chris McLean said, I wish there was a way to add CPT fields in the blog module. That would be so nice. Nice. Yes, that would be really cool. I've been wanting a little more stuff out of the blog module for a while, not even a whole lot. But a few things like that would be fantastic. Dynamic content helps a lot with that. That and I learned the other day with the person module, you can play around a lot with it. But yeah, that would be great to have some custom fields on that one to be able to do. I see on YouTube, but as far as I know, excuse me one second, I see still read that on the fields. I don't know if there's anything like that coming, but that would be really cool. I'll see if there is when I look through. And I see on Facebook, Ray asks, will Elegant Themes be at WordCamp San Antonio in late March? And I have not heard that we will. There is a big Divi community, as you may know, Ray, in San Antonio, or at least the last time I knew where they were based out of, it was San Antonio. So there will probably be some Divi developers there, if I had to guess, but not official ones from us that work for us, I don't believe. I cannot... that has not been mentioned at all, so I'm gonna say no on official, like, as far as I know, like officially being sent there. I don't think so, unless somebody just decides that they're gonna go. But I love San Antonio. I love the city. So that was actually where my very first conference ever was, a Pop Culture Association, a PCA conference in 2008. Actually, no, not 2008. That was 2010. Yeah, that was 2010. I went to PCA there, so it was my second ever conference in San Antonio. It was a lot of fun. I love that city. Um, and I see. Let's see. Let me get back to where I was. Um, Elise asks, what could be the reason why, when using Astra and Divi, my images can't be shown when I go live? Does anyone else encounter this problem? I've not had that issue with Astra and Divi. I would check for compatibility with different things on. Let me phrase this differently. The issue when I've had images that wouldn't show up between the builder and live site, whenever I've had that happen personally, it was because of either a CDN issue where it was being cached incorrectly, or it was a lazy load issue where the plugin was interacting the lazy load issue, the lazy loader was interacting with the Divi or page builder plugin in a different way. I would check those out. There's always the stuff like emptying out your browser cache, stuff like that, recaching the website, emptying all of the stuff out with WP Rocket or W3 fastest cache, that kind of stuff, and see if it does. But that's what I've done in the past with stuff like that, but not specifically with Astra and Divi. I've never run into that one. At least there's also a lot of tutorials on YouTube that Mac does that are both for our YouTube channel and his own. And I know some of his sites that he's run use Astra. So he might have a tutorial on one of his sites that deals with using Astra and the Divi builder and shows stuff like that. I haven't searched through there for that specifically, but I know that he has... I know that he has experience using those two together, so it might be an idea to check that out and just see with a quick search if there's anything there. But that's the other one I know. Let me see. Get where I'm at. There's a... And I see. Second, for a search module, there's not an icons property. We always have to use CSS for that. Yep. Not sure how that's going, but yeah, I know. Sorry. Recep asks, how do you plan to add sliders for WooCommerce products? There is an update coming for the WooCommerce modules where the last that I heard, there were 17 new modules coming for the WooCommerce part of Divi. I have no idea what those are. They are in development. They're being QA'd. They're being worked on, by the dev team right now. I honestly don't know at what point they're going to be released, but that might be something that's in there within those 17, but I honestly have no clue what a single one of them is. I was given a number. I was talking to folks about that when they were being first worked on, and I'm not sure where that stands right now. But if there is, that should be coming out in the second wave of the still getting over my my cough. I'm trying not to cough on camera too much. That should be coming, if it is, in the WooCommerce Wave 2 stuff. Uncle Social is recommending a Smart Slider 3 by NextEnd. It's a better slider than we could dedicate time for creating. I appreciate you phrasing it that way. Divi, he said his golden rule is Divi for layouts, third-party plugins for functionality, and that's not a bad way of looking at it, because for the reason that you said, there's a time cost that you're looking at in terms of person hours of where the best way to spend your time is for the betterment of the product and your community. And sometimes, like that, focusing in on just a slider to make it as as robust as possible isn't the best idea when you have things like a Smart Slider 3 out there, for people who need the really, really, really advanced features. I think that's the same way that I look at Gutenberg. I think that the block editor is a fantastic thing. I love the block editor. I'm a big fan, and I actually recommend to people to use the block editor now. And the sites that I personally run and edit, I get my people to work in the block editor. The reason is because it's a good experience for writing. But when you start developing themes and ideas and layouts, when you start working on those, then you will probably need to upgrade to one of the bigger page builders like Divi, because that's where you get the functionality that you need over Gutenberg, as opposed to the base stuff. So again, you have like the base slider in Divi versus the slider, super slider, or smart slider 3 and revolution slider, things like that. So it's a good analogy. Thank you, Uncle Social, for that one. Uh, and yeah, Uncle Social says he can't think of more than 3 or 4 WooCommerce more that he would want, but 17. I don't know what the 17 are. That's the thing. I can think of like a handful of them, and I have no idea what these 17 are. So I'm so excited to see the stuff about WooCommerce I don't know exists. And then Uncle Social, what about, or Daniel asks, what about Revolution Slider? Seems way too bloated, but it has lots of functionality. I'll let him answer that one, because rather than go in on it, I've used it in the past as well. And so Revolution works well with Divi from what I've used. I've never used Smart Slider 3, but if Uncle Social uses it, then it obviously does as well, because he's a Divi builder. But the the Revolution slider has felt a little bloated to me, but I don't use a lot of those features too. That's the thing. When I do sliders, they're very, very bare, and I actually use the Divi slider. So shows for what you're doing. And then Kasim says Divi needs to add mega menu modules so to the visual builder, list menu items and widget more dynamically. That would be really cool. I know that there is a plugin called Divi Mega Pro that I think Divi Life does. I like that one a lot. It is pretty useful, but that one is the one that I go to. Not sure where we're standing on Mega Menu and the menu for the theme builder, stuff like that. Uncle Social does bring up a good point. I will go back and then I will get to the back to the links here. I do want to. He says that he chose Smart Slider a few years ago. Personally, in 2020, I think sliders and carousels are a bit dated and aren't a great user experience. I was having this discussion the other day, and the reason that I don't use sliders anymore, and I was showing the data to someone that about 80 to 95% of clicks are on the very first slide, and then it drops. Like, it is the other like 5 to 15-ish% are spread out among the other slides at a declining rate. So you are looking at sliders basically being a single image that most people see, that might show up at random for them. That's why I have gone to a grid system. Wherever I would put a slider, I put a small grid of images there with that you can hover over for overlay. I used to love sliders back when they were the thing, and they still serve their purpose, but I've found that if you're looking for click-throughs and conversions for them rather than simply decoration, that a grid or a list does work better for getting people to go to the different areas rather than whatever is on the first one. You can look up, I don't have the data on me right now to be able to copy and paste and post to you, but the data is there for sliders and carousels that you are definitely looking at the first one being the vast majority of the clicks, rather than the others. Whether it's automated, however you do it, it will always be that. The closest that you get is somebody who's curious, who may look, excuse me, this is the use case that I imagine and that it happens to me. I never look at multiple sliders intentionally. The carousel moves and I'm like, oh, that's neat. Or I'm looking away like this and I turn back to the screen and I see something leave. And I'm like, oh, what was that? And I go back or forward, whichever way it was, until I find what I was looking for. That's how I get it. But at the same time, I would see that in a grid. And that's why I prefer stuff like that, because you get to see all of it. But the Uncle Social says no one hangs out to watch a slideshow, especially at the top of a homepage. People scroll down the page ASAP, and that's what I've noticed. I did a test on one of my sites fairly recently on it. Not a single click through on the slider, but when they scrolled down into the grid of posts, just a normal blog post grid, that's where they were starting to go through, even when the slider had the same image and same title as the grid. Same featured image, everything, and the one on the slider was bigger in comparison. They still went down to the grid, clicked on the blog grid. So that's my experience with it. That's what most of the data is showing. Not necessarily grid, but not carousels and sliders, if you're wanting them to get equal access to all of the content that you're showing. Otherwise, sliders do serve their function. It's just, if your idea for the slider is to get all of this content out, there are better ways statistically to do so. Now that's an interesting one, Dave. Dave Doherty on YouTube asks, what if there are more items that would not fit across the page, more than one row? I have, I have always seen more than one row. One of my sites that I actually check all the time, and it's a gaming site, but I'm going to link it in the, the chat here. It's called Massively Overpowered, and I'm going to show, because if you look at the top of this link here, it's massivelyop.com. This is actually how I've done stuff with bigger thumbnails, and sometimes having one large thumbnail and the others at varying sizes. And yes, under different layers of different rows on there that take up the same space that the slider would. And the reason that I bring up this particular website and their experience there is because I watched them. I know some of the folks who run it, and I've watched them move through the iterations of the website from a slider to this, and this has lasted so much longer. And yeah, Chris, you can see a grid like that on the link I just posted up. That Massively OP just kind of looks like a portfolio grid that would take up the entire, whatever space you would have that slider be in. Like I said, I've known them. I saw them move from this size of slider that went on, I think, a 2 to 3 second automatic carousel around, to having it like this with 7 items on there. And so that's just kind of one of those that I've seen work. And I see Mark ask, can I share the data? Let me see if I can. I don't actually, I searched for it the other day, and that's all I did. I think I just looked for click-through slider data or statistics or something like that, and it's out there. There've been a couple of case studies done on it. And so I really tend to trust stuff like that. I know that I've seen a lot. Like, I don't have the links on me right now. but it was when I dug through, I was just I actually sent him the images. My friend who I was doing this, I just kept texting him the images of the graphs that they had on there, so that he could see what it was that was going on with the data, and all of them were like steep declines. So maybe that helps somebody. I really do hope it does. I hope that I say help in the way that you get more conversions and clicks to the content you want seen. Not so much that it helps you move from one to another, but the but you get your content seen at a higher and more efficient rate, which will get you better conversions all the way around. Let me see. Now, I'm running out of time. That was a very long discussion, and it's great. Y'all are wonderful for this. I want to go through a couple more of the comments. This is why I love this show. I love being able to talk to y'all in the comments. Kasim asked, I think Divi should introduce competitions like Facebook does, so a developer will show their interest to make custom modules and compatible plugins. I would not expect that to happen, but we do want to get to the, where we interact and be very approachable. We do things in the Divi theme users group, Facebook group. I know that we do, when you put in a suggestion with like live chat, things like that can get put into the GitHub issues as requests and stuff like that. So we do gauge it. It's just a little bit differently than like that. So before I get out of here, I've got just a few minutes. I want to just point out some of the stuff that I have in here so that y'all can go through the links and read all of the content that's here, because it's great. Lots of great content. Torque Mag, a couple of below the in the description of the video, about 3 below the gradient background post that we were talking about, is how to create a video marketing strategy in 6 steps. This one's really, really good because video marketing is, I mean, y'all know you got to have video at this point. And so you need a strategy to it, because just posting videos of you making a sandwich is not going to be the same as having like interaction and a marketing plan. I see William Patton coming in saying, hello. I'm glad you showed your face. There's a Velocitize article that is actually the one that I expected we would spend the most time on, but I didn't get to. So that's why I'm pointing this out right now, y'all. Look at the Velocitize article titled 3 Key Tips for Pricing Your Marketing Services. I know a lot of y'all do that. A lot of y'all do marketing in addition to what you're working on, and this applies to things other than marketing, but like charge what you're worth, look at what other people are doing, and make sure that you're getting paid what you're worth. Again, I was having a conversation online this morning about when I first started adjuncting as a teacher. If y'all aren't familiar with that, that's when you do it part-time by the class. It's a kind of an a la carte teacher thing where at colleges. And so you may be teaching 1 to 5 classes, 1 to 5 classes a semester, but you're getting paid a single flat rate for that, as opposed to being on a contract rather than being hired full-time at a salary. And I bring this up because it's not paying professionals what they're worth. I was working 90 hours a week grading papers through composition classes and developmental writing classes, trying to get through all of these papers, like hundreds of papers every week. And I was making like $16,000 to $20,000, just depending on the semester, on the year, for a year. And that is not what I'm worth. That is not what a person with a master's degree should be able to make as a college instructor. So I started looking for full-time jobs to pay me what I was worth. Eventually got hired on at that college at a much higher, not much higher, but a higher pay scale. So that's the kind of thing you need to figure out what you're worth and then work for that amount. It talks about whether your prices will be public or not, which is a big thing. There's nothing wrong with having public pricing. This is what you charge for stuff. Or you can work it out per client, and not in a shady way, but a way that helps your clients and to build trust with them. Y'all have heard me mention it before. I've been paid this low as low as this for this, and as high as this for this kind of work. Let's work something out within your budget so that they know where you're coming from, as opposed to I charge $1,500 for this package. So different things talks about that, and then tiered pricing to improve conversion rates, like maintenance plans, new stuff, different tiers. Y'all know how to do that. But I thought it was really good. I want to point that out. I love Velocitize, and I think that you should all spend some time reading that, because I think it can help every single one of us in some way in our future. So to learn, to get paid what we're worth, and how to think about that kind of thing, because it's hard to think about what you're worth and how to talk about money. It's really uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about money, and this gives you a baseline of how to do that. So that's me, you guys. That's the show. Make sure that you expand the video and go through the rest of the tutorials and the rest of the resources. I didn't even get to the resources. There is some really great stuff in there, like thoughts on building a WordPress website without code. Is there life for post formats after Gutenberg? The 10 best online code editors, which is really cool because they're all browser based, which I've used some of, which are really fun. Logo makers, dedicated server hosting, just a micro package. Uncle Social, this one is for you. Micro package is an open source library of reusable WordPress code. You were talking about Divi code snippets earlier. This is that for WordPress. So you can click through, it's github.com/micropackage. It's really neat. So check that out. And that may give you an idea of the how to create the kind of thing that you were looking for Divi. But y'all, I hope you have a fantastic Valentine's Day. I love you. I'm so glad that you took the time out of your day or your night to come hang out and talk about WordPress with me, to talk about sliders and getting paid what you're worth and everything. Really appreciate all your suggestions and questions. Like I said, I always love doing this. So make sure that you smash that like button. That helps more than you may realize. YouTube wants to know how much you like us. Make sure that you click the follow button, you ring the bell, you tell Facebook that you want to be notified whenever we go live, because we go live at least twice a week, sometimes more. I'm live on Fridays every week at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. Jason or Donietta goes live with a use case on Tuesday at the same time at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. And Mac goes live every Monday morning after a theme release. So or a feature release. So whenever there is a Divi update with a new feature, you can expect Mac to be online at 6 a.m. Eastern time to take your questions and walk you through how this new feature works and what kind of cool stuff that you can do with it. If there are any features that have come out recently that you want to see that about, those are all archived in our YouTube and Facebook pages, where you can go and see the questions, watch them live, and him answer those. Those have turned into some really, really fantastic resources for folks. So, Uncle Social now has 70 tabs open. I'm pretty sure you're about to crash your computer. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, maybe a better one than Uncle Social's computer. Like I said, I appreciate y'all coming out. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I will see you next week at the same time. Bye, everybody.